Welcome, deep divers. Imagine a city, right? It's held in the subtle grip by a criminal mastermind, and the law feels completely helpless.
Yeah, classic setup.
But then, picture this. Pants just bursting into flames, getaway cars smashing into telephone poles seemingly for no reason at all, bombs failing to go off. What if, reality itself started playing favorites?
It's a wild premise, isn't it? When things should go one way, but they consistently defy logic over and over.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to wonder what's really going on underneath.
Exactly. So today we're diving deep into Murray Leinster's fantastic 1960 short story, The Ambulance Made Two Trips. It's this great mix, classic detective stuff meets this really mind-bending sci-fi twist, changes how you think about luck.
Absolutely. And our mission really is to unpack this thing for you. We'll look at how organized crime works, that subtle, creeping kind, the struggle against it, and then this hidden technology that completely flips the script on what an accident even means.
Get ready for some moments where you just go, okay. Might make you rethink cause and effect a little.
No.
Okay, let's start with the big guy, the one pulling the strings. Big Jake Connors. Now, he's not your stereotypical brute, not mostly anyway. He's smart, a racketeer who uses intimidation, sure, but also, gifts, insidious gifts.
That's a really clever psychological part. He leaves stuff for the cops.
Right.
Anonymously.
Huh.
We're talking good scotch, fancy fishing gear, silk sock.
Even mink stoles for the wives, and white wall tires.
Right, expensive stuff. No note, no from Big Jake. He denies it at fast. But everyone knows. Everyone.
And the effect. Devastating. Because it's so subtle, the story puts it perfectly. The wives like to open in the door of a morning and find charming little surprises. So it makes the husbands, the cops, reluctant, not exactly bribed, but softened up, less likely to push hard against him. It just erodes their resolve.
Yeah, how do you fight that? It's corruption without a clear fingerprint. Which brings us to Detective Sergeant Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
He's our main guy, the honest cop.
He hates it. The story says he swore bitterly. He gets these gifts, too, like a nice meerschaum pipe, just gives them away, sends them to an orphanage, shows his integrity, but also, wow, his frustration.
You can feel it. And Big Jake didn't always rely on just gifts for his business takeovers, did he? His history shows a clear pattern.
Oh, yeah. On the business side, it was less subtle, more like orchestrated bad luck for his rivals. Then he swoops in.
Exactly, like the beer business years ago. Suddenly, rivals find their kegs smashed, trucks broken down, drivers getting into fights.
Always something. Or the jukeboxes, competitors' machines get smashed, supposedly by some out-of-town customer no one can find.
And Jake ends up with a monopoly. Same with taxis. Holes drilled in radiators, sand mysteriously appearing in oil pans, blowouts.
Yeah, even brake lines failing. Just a string of accidents.
Until Big Jake offers insurance, which is just protection money, obviously. He built his whole operation on making misfortune happen, creating this climate of fear.
Even the cops' wives didn't really want him caught deep down.
Which leads us right to the current case Fitzgerald's looking into. This place called Elite Cleaners and Dyers.
And it turns out the previous owner was Brink's brother-in-law, a guy named Burdock.
Right. And Burdock got the classic Big Jake treatment. Acid spills damaging clothes, machines getting smashed, a whole truckload of garments stolen. He finally gave up, sold the business cheap. Too much nervous strain, the story says.
So Brink steps in, takes over the business basically to help out his brother-in-law, even though people warned him he'd get the same treatment.
But this time things don't quite follow Big Jake's usual playbook. Not at all.
Okay, so Fitzgerald shows up at Elite Cleaners. He's probably expecting to find Brink stressed out, maybe ready to file a complaint,
Standard procedure.
But instead, Brink is, he's not worried at all. Remarkably calm, confident even, which feels wrong, given who he's luckily up against.
Definitely sets off alarm bells for Fitzgerald. And there's something else the detective notices in Brink's office, isn't there?
Yeah, some books, titles like Basic Principles of Psi and Modern Psychokinetic Theories, plus this little dusty machine, mostly plastic. It's our first real clue that maybe this isn't just about racketeering.
A very subtle hint dropped early on.
And then the accidents start, but they're different. Fitzgerald hears about the first incident. One of Brink's employees, Jacaro, who, by the way, is secretly on Big Jake's payroll, his pants just catch fire, on a bus.
Spontaneously combust. He wasn't badly hurt, apparently, but scared.
Yes.
And furious. Refused to say a word about how it happened.
And Brink's reaction, this is key. Zero surprise. He just asks Fitzgerald if Jacaro's eyelids were twitching this morning. A really weird question.
We find out later Brink actually called Big Jake about it. Suggested Jacaro was maybe trying to plant a firebomb at the cleaners, and something happened. Made it go off early on him.
It just gets stranger. The day before that pants incident, a car loaded with Big Jake's hoods tries a drive-by at the cleaners.
Right, classic intimidation tactic.
They fire a sawed-off shotgun, buckshot goes through a window, but the muzzle flash, get this, it burned all the hair off the head of the guy that was doing the driving.
No way.
Yeah, he panics, slams the accelerator instead of the brake, and drives straight into a telephone pole. Boom! 4 heavily armed guys knocked out cold before the police even get there.
Neutralized instantly. Yeah. And Brink's reaction to that?
Again, strangely mild. He seems mostly concerned about the broken window. When Fitzgerald suggests they were trying to scare his employees, Brink just calls it an interesting theory. His coolness is just unnerving.
It is. Especially considering the violence aimed at him and how it consistently backfires onto the attacker.
And it doesn't stop there. A bomb. 2 sticks of dynamite wired to the ignition of Brink's delivery truck, found at the garage.
Meant to go off when the driver turned the key.
Lethal.
But it just didn't detonate. The garage guys found it, freaked out, called the cops. Standard procedure failed.
And Brink, when he hears about the bomb, interested maybe, but not shocked, not relieved even, just takes it in stride. These aren't random anymore, are they? They're too specific. Too targeted in their failure, or rather their redirection, always harming the aggressor.
Exactly. And Brink's weird questions about twitching eyelids, they start to feel less like a random tick and more like they mean something important. Is it luck? Or something else entirely?
Well, this pattern of, let's call it bad luck for the bad guys, it doesn't stay limited to just them, does it? Fitzgerald himself starts noticing things.
Right. This is where it gets personal for the detective. His own eyelids start twitching, involuntarily.
The first time, he's walking down the street, his eyelid twitches, makes him stop dead in his tracks for just a second, and bam! A heavy glass water pitcher smashes on the sidewalk right where he would have been. Thrown from a hospital window nearby, he looks up, realizes that twitch just saved his life.
Wow. That's unnerving.
And it happens again. He's walking somewhere else. Eyelid twitches hard, makes him look up instinctively.
Yeah.
A huge piece of shattered plate glass falls from above, landing exactly where he was standing a moment before. Misses him completely.
Twice. Saved by an eyelid twitch. Okay, that's beyond coincidence.
Totally. So Fitzgerald, completely freaked out now, goes straight back to Brink. He's had enough. He basically demands, what is going on?
And this is where Brink finally spills the beans. He reveals he has these things called anti-violence psi fields.
Yeah.
Generated by those little psi units, the dusty machines Fitzgerald saw in his office.
To psi fields. Okay. And he connects it to someone real.
Yeah, he mentions a guy named Hieronymus, T. Galen Hieronymus. Actually a real inventor who got patents for devices supposedly detecting something he called eloptic radiation.
Brink suggests Hieronymus basically stumbled onto detecting psi, but just didn't know what it was.
So psi, like psychokinesis.
Yeah.
Moving things with your mind. Is that what Brink's doing?
Not quite. That's the usual sci-fi trope. But Leinster's idea here is different, more subtle. It's not about moving objects directly. It's about manipulating probability.
Changing probabilities. How does that work? Brink explains it using an analogy. Think of magnetism. A strong magnetic field near a spinning copper disc doesn't push the disc, right? Instead, it converts the disc's kinetic energy into heat through eddy currents.
Okay, I think I follow.
So Brink says a psi field works similarly. It sets up conditions, a sort of field effect, where violence aimed at the protected target becomes fundamentally impossible. It doesn't block the energy, it redirects it, changes its form.
And the eyelid twitching?
Those are the psi eddy currents, according to Brink. They're warnings, like the resistance you feel in that magnetic analogy. They signal that someone nearby has hostile intent, that violence is imminent.
So the twitch is a heads up. But what if the attacker ignores it or doesn't get the warning?
That's when the main effect kicks in. If the aggressor pushes forward with a violent act, the psi field warps probability itself. Violence against the target becomes, and this is a quote, the most improbable of all conceivable things.
The most improbable. So it just can't happen.
Exactly. But the intent, the energy of that violence has to go somewhere. So the field makes it so that any other thing can happen to anybody else, meaning the aggressor. Probability shifts, and the violence reflects back as an accident.
Okay, wow. So that's why Jacaro's pants caught fire. He was going to commit arsa.
And the field made that outcome impossible, redirecting the fire energy onto him.
And the car crash. The driver intended violence.
And the field turned that intent into self-destructive panic and a crash. The failed bomb, same principle. The detonation became the most improbable outcome.
This changes everything. It's not luck. It's a system, a bizarre probability-bending defense system. It takes the aggressor's own violent intentions and turns them back on them as misfortune.
Precisely. It reframes all those coincidences into the direct logical consequence of this hidden side technology. It's a fascinating concept.
So Fitzgerald, he's got this knowledge now. He's a cop, sworn to uphold the law, use standard procedures.
Right, procedures that are totally useless against Big Jake's kind of creeping corruption.
Exactly. He sees the police force is basically helpless. He knows this Psi unit thing works. He's seen it. He's experienced it. But he also knows it's nuts. It would never be authorized for police work.
Puts him in a real bind. Conventional justice isn't working. This unconventional method is. What does he do?
Well, he's pragmatic. He doesn't care about getting credit. He just wants the job done. He wants Big Jake stopped for the good of the public. So yeah, he decides to work with Brink. He accepts this crazy help.
A leap of faith almost, or maybe desperation.
Maybe both. So they decide, right, let's confront Big Jake directly. Brink calls him up.
Just calls him. What does he say?
Pretty much lays it all out. Tells Jake what happened to his hoods, the fire, the crash, the bomb, everything. Says, look, these accidents will keep happening. He offers Jake a choice. Buy my business, fair price, and I walk away quietly. Or Brink goes to the newspapers, tells them about all the threats, points them towards all the hoods currently laid up in the hospital thanks to these accidents, exposes the whole thing.
Ballsy move. How does Big Jake react?
Predictably. The story says he was grinding his teeth.
Mm-hmm.
You can bet his eyelids were twitching like mad, those psi eddy currents warning him off. But does he listen? Nope.
Too arrogant. Too used to getting his way through force.
Exactly. He ignores the warnings. He gathers his guys. They try violence again. First, just fists and clubs, trying to rough up Brink or Fitzgerald.
Which presumably doesn't work thanks to the psi field.
Right. Then they escalate, sawed-off shotguns come out. But Brink anticipated this. He has psi units set up back at the cleaners, and that's where the real fireworks happen.
Ah, the grand finale.
Yeah. Two of Jake's toughest hoods go to wreck the cleaning plant. And what happens is just sheer chaos. But only for them. It's like a symphony of accidental self-destruction.
Okay, break it down. What happens first?
First, somehow, a big glass carboy full of detergent gets smashed. It floods the floor, making it super slippery.
Setting the stage.
Then, one hood's eye twitches that warning again, and he reacts by just, throwing a nearby box of spot remover powder randomly.
And that triggers.
That box hits the door of a big industrial dryer. The door flies off its hinges, hits the second hood, knocks his gun right out of his hand.
Unbelievable. Keep going.
The flying door then slams into a partition wall. This dislodges a jar of powdered detergent from a shelf, which falls right onto the first hood, covers him in powder.
Making him
Sneeze. Violently, and the sneeze makes him accidentally pull the trigger on the other gun he was holding. The bullet ricochets off some machinery and hits the second hood, the one who lost his gun.
You're kidding.
Nope. Doesn't kill him, but knocks him off balance. And remember that slippery floor? He starts sliding, magnificently, the story says, sliding on his belly right across the detergent slick and out the back door.
Like a human bowling ball. What about the first guy, the sneezer?
He's sliding too, and while he's sliding, the overhead light bulbs start imploding, raining blast down. Another carton of detergent falls on him. It's just total mayhem.
But only directed at them.
Exactly. Outside, the second hood, still sliding, crashes into a stack of drums filled with bone black, like powdered charcoal. Boom. Big black cloud everywhere.
This is insane.
He fires his gun blindly from inside the cloud. Hits an oil drum up in the rafters. It bursts, drenching one of them in sticky black goo.
Oh, this is just humiliation now.
Another wild shot hits a container of dye. Bright heliotrope dye. It sprays everywhere, coating the whole garage and probably the hoods in this vivid purple color.
They must think they've literally landed in some kind of cartoon hell.
Pretty much, they're completely defeated, covered in goo and dye, utterly terrified by the impossible string of misfortunes. They give up. They've had enough.
And Big Jake. And the others.
Same story, different accidents, presumably just as bizarre. The end result, as the title says. The ambulance made 2 trips, one for the hoods at the cleaners and another for Big Jake and whoever was with him when their violence backfired. His reign is just over, decisively.
Wow. And Fitzgerald.
He witnessed it all, barely believing his eyes, but filled with, and I love this phrase, pious joy. The impossible job got done. So, wrapping this up, what's the takeaway here beyond just a really fun, inventive story?
Well, we see Fitzgerald, right? stuck with conventional tools that just don't work against a certain kind of problem, and he finds this completely unconventional, almost magical solution.
It really makes you think about the limits of what we assume is possible, doesn't it? And maybe about forces or perspectives that could be operating just under the surface of reality.
Definitely. This deep dive shows how just changing one fundamental thing, in this case, probability, can totally overturn a situation that seemed hopeless. It's a wild kind of testament to, I guess, ingenuity, even if it's fantastical ingenuity, fighting impossible odds with an impossible solution.
It really is. And it leaves us with a pretty chewy final thought, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If, and it's a big if, but if a technology like this psi unit could exist, something that literally bends probability to make violence against a target impossible by redirecting it back onto the attacker,
Yeah.
would using it even be ethical?
That's a tough one. Where's the line?
And maybe even more fundamentally, in a world where something like that was real, how could you ever tell the difference between just incredible luck, maybe divine intervention, or this hidden manipulation of reality itself?
Something to definitely ponder. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive, everyone.